back to Traveling Tid-Bits with Laney, and I'm Laney. Today I've got a special guest speaker joining me, and this is Kyle.
Hello, everybody.
Ooh. And he is the visual arts director here on Northwestern. He has also been a member of the Study Abroad program, and I'm really excited to kind of jump in to see what all his traveling experiences have been and to see what his take on everything is, just because I've been given my little piece here and there about just the little places that I've been, but he's been a lot more places, so I'm kind of excited. But so to start out, I kind of just want to show some sound bites of some clips of people who think what makes a good trip and what makes a bad vacation. And here's what they came up with. So this is the first one. Oh, can you turn the little thing on? Sorry.
I like going on vacation because I get to experience new places and new food and new people.
Okay, so she just likes kind of going and getting
Right.
out of Alva. She kind of
Sure.
explained that. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so how do you, like, what is your take on that? You agree?
Yeah,
or-
studying abroad. We're lucky to live here in Alva, great community, but it is fairly limited, right? It's
Right.
in terms of food options, in
Yep.
terms of, we have a diverse campus, but it's not so much of a diverse region here.
Right.
I think it's crucial to get out
Yeah.
and
go
to
out.
travel and to experience new cultures and have new experiences.
Right.
Yeah, I'm all about that.
All right. We'll take a look and see what makes a bad vacation.
To me, what makes a bad vacation is either rude locals or the weather turns sour and I can't do anything but sit inside.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, you got to take into account the locals' point of view, right?
Right.
If they live in a touristy area, it's they're dealing with people that don't know what's going on, that may be rude themselves, and so maybe they
Right.
might have a point, right? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So we'll kind of go back onto the track of you being in the study abroad program and
Yeah.
being involved with all that. And so you've been involved with that for 5 years now?
Yeah, it's been 5 years, and
All
of
right.
course, 2 of those years have been COVID,
Right.
pandemic,
So it was a little hard.
so everything's been put on hold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where all have you traveled to within the study abroad program here at Northwestern?
Since I've been on the committee, I think they've been to Australia, New Zealand. They've been through Italy. They went to Greece. What else have they done? And I know there's been on the docket a trip to Iceland
Right.
that has been postponed and everything. And I think it's on. We haven't had a meeting for a while, so I don't know if that's still coming up or they've planned something else right now. But yeah. And then I went on a trip to.
Right.
I should mention the one I actually went on. I organized a trip to London, Edinburgh, and Dublin.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that the one that will be coming up, or is that the one that you...
That's the one I did in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how do you guys pick, like, what places
Well, we
you're
have,
going to?
if you go to the Study Abroad website, there's a survey that students can fill out.
Okay.
And when we do information meetings around campus or at Ranger Connection classes, we usually bring up this little online form
Right.
that students can fill out. And then it's just about, testing where the students would like to go.
Okay.
So that's kind of, we gather that and we kind of see, okay, where haven't we been for a while? And go from there. Yeah.
All right. And then what was your favorite / most memorable experience that stood out to you on one of your travels?
Sure, yeah. There's a lot. Just thinking about the London, Edinburgh, and Dublin trip, part of it is, organizing a trip for students who don't have a lot of travel experience, some of the students, it was their first time even being on a plane. So a lot of the prep for the trip itself was preparing them, how to go through airport security, how to, have the proper documents, and logistical stuff like that. And some of my favorite moments were kind of the in between, the sightseeing, because these class trips and study abroad trips tend to be pretty regimented because we need to see a lot in a short amount of time,
Right.
so everyone gets their money's worth. But some of the in between moments where I remember in Dublin towards the end of the trip, we had a few hours free, so we decided to go on a train to, I believe it was Howth, on the coast, and I know it was maybe one or two of the students' first experience seeing the actual ocean for the first
Oh my
time.
goodness.
And I just remembered seeing them take it all in, and it was an absolutely beautiful place.
I bet.
We had a lovely dinner there and overlooking the ocean and everything. And just seeing their awe and wonder of, seeing the ocean for the first time, it really had a big impact on me.
That's a big thing,
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially just from around here, we just see little lakes and
It's
ponds.
possible
and
if you've never been on a plane,
Yeah.
you've never traveled, it's the first time. Yeah.
But so, other than like the study abroad group, like I noticed on your portfolio and everything that you've done like an extensive amount of traveling just through like without that. So, and
Right.
I'm really excited to kind of look into see like what is
Yeah.
probably your most favorite place that you've ever been to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a late bloomer myself in terms of travel. I didn't have too many opportunities when I was even an undergrad. It wasn't until, and I traveled throughout the United States and everything, but it wasn't until I was a graduate student in Boston University where I got my first opportunity to go abroad, and we took a class trip to Madrid, Spain, and we were there for about 2 weeks, and I think that was my favorite travel experience by far. Partly because it was just a lot of time. It wasn't regimented.
Right.
They booked hotels right by the Prado Museum, which, the Prado is this world famous, it's like walking into an art history book. And so I got to experience, Goya paintings, for the first time in person. And I got to spend an extended amount of time in the museum just looking. So, my experience in museums has always been, well, I go to a place, I spend a few hours in a museum, maybe I have people with me that need to hurry.
Right.
So it's, see what you can and leave, and make the best of it, of course. But this was really the first opportunity that I had to just kind of settle down in a place that I wasn't familiar with, eat amazing food, tapas, and oh man, it was beautiful. And then I went to the Prado every morning, up until a little past lunch, and I would take my sketchbook and just stand in front of paintings and draw them. And there's no better way to experience a painting and really commit it to memory than to just stand in front and draw. And I never had time like that to spend in a museum in front of amazing works. When I lived in Boston, I would go to the Boston MFA, and that's probably the closest other experience. But I always had like work or, studio time that I needed to, there's always something, a cloud over my head saying, I got to get back. In Spain, because it was a trip, and that's all I was there to do, is to look at work and experience the setting. I felt free to just let myself go, and I loved it,
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
So, while in Spain, what part did you say you were in?
I was in Madrid,
Okay.
and we took a couple offshoot trips. One was to Toledo, I should say it correctly. And this is this medieval town that's full of castles, and it was the home of El Greco, the painter. So there's a cathedral with all of his, some of his famous works, and there's a museum dedicated to his work as well. And I've always loved his work. Unfortunately, the museum was actually closed the day we went, so
no.
It just happened. It was like on a Tuesday, some random day. You wouldn't
Why
think
you
would
closed it?
Exactly. But I got to visit some of the cathedrals with some of his altarpiece paintings still there. And, oh boy, it's amazing.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, they're also famous for sword making.
Ooh.
So I got a little
Little
touristy sword
yeah.
to bring home, and
Have a souvenir.
That's right. That doubles as a protective weapon. It's probably not very sharp, so yeah.
But so where else have you traveled? Like, have you stuck kind of strictly to like one area, or do you kind of have you just been everywhere?
Not really. It's really been my art practice that's taken me different places.
Okay.
So a few years ago, and maybe it was it was before the study abroad trip to the UK. I did an art residency in Santiago, Chile, and that was my first time going to South America. And I was there for 2 months,
Ooh.
and it was through a residency called Molten Capital. And Molten Capital connects international artists with Chilean artists, and the residency organized a studio space for me and 2 Chilean artists in this historic gallery named Apech, in the heart of downtown, in the city. Santiago's a sprawling city.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to go every morning. And they set up a little apartment for me to live in. And I'd wake up and go to the studio. And this studio, because it was a gallery, they had, just had free time for me to use it as a studio. And at the end of the stay, I had a show there with the 2 Chilean artists, and we collaborated. I got to know them really well. It was just an amazing experience, and yeah, we all learned from each other, and I'm still really good friends with them.
Good.
And again, it's another opportunity to, I feel as an artist, it's one of the large benefits is that it takes you places where you wouldn't expect, and you meet the most amazing people. And the way I connect with people is through art.
Okay.
So yeah, as an artist, any place I go, I research the museums, of course, the galleries, but also artist studios. And artists are, for the most part, pretty generous people. They'll open up their studio, let you look in, and it's a way to connect that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So over there in Chile, how different was the culture? Was it kind of the same as just on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a dense city, and culturally, it almost felt like being in a European city.
Okay.
I felt there's a lot of European German influence in the Chilean culture, and my Spanish isn't so great. It was better then than it is now, but and a lot of the younger people know English. So it wasn't too much of a difference for me, but I mean, again, it's just you just take it all in. The food was amazing. It's a beautiful city. It's surrounded by the Andes, and one of the interesting things is that because you always see those mountains in the distance, and Santiago's kind of like a bowl within the Andes, and because it's a dense city with lots of cars and everything, the smog kind of covers the city. So if it hasn't rained in a while, those mountains kind of disappear, and it's it's kind of cloudy.
Yeah.
And then it'll rain, and then those
they're-
mountains will be crystal clear, and
Ooh.
they look like they're
They're
right on
so
top
pretty.
of you, and it's just incredible. Yeah.
That would be a place to go.
Yeah.
But that just about wraps us up.
Yeah.
But I just have one more question. So if you had to, out of all the places that you haven't been,
Yeah.
like where would you go?
I mean, I've got some big ones that I haven't been to in terms of being an artist and studying art. I've never been to Greece. I'd love to go to Athens and see the Acropolis, and I should have gone there by now, but I haven't. I think Professor Kelsey is there right now. Actually,
yeah?
he's always sending me pictures. And, I've got to go. And I've never been to Italy.
Ooh.
I'd love to see the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah.
All those great Renaissance painters. So that's on my bucket list of things
big
to
to
do
do.
very soon. That I
Yes,
really need to go.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Thank you so much for meeting up and telling us about your
Yeah,
traveling
thanks for having me.
experiences. Sounds really cool.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I've opened up my bucket list now.
That's right. Yeah.
But all right, yes, thank you so much for coming in, and
Thanks.
thank you all for watching this last episode of Traveling Tidbits with Laney. It was a fun little semester of vlogging with you guys, so maybe next time.
Just glad to be a part of the grand finale. I didn't know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool. All right.